Hey, what's up, friend? How's it going? It's time for our walk. So if you want to put your shoes on and barely ride your very loud dirt bike down the road, I'd love to come hang out with you for a little bit. So join me outside. If we haven't met before, my name is Kendall, and I am positive I've got no idea what I'm doing here on YouTube. I really don't. I've never spoken into a camera before in my life. I never thought that I'd be a content creator. And I never considered what that would look like. But, that's okay. Because I think God has a message. And if He wants me to help share that message, awesome. And if He doesn't want me to share this message, I'm going to find out that much faster. But I'm never going to stop until I master this. And God has said all that He's wanted to here. That means that mistakes are going to happen. Did you catch my mistake in the first few videos? Actually, several, 5 or 6 actually. Did you catch it? The thumbnail, when I created the graphic for the channel for Chasing Eternity, I forgot to take out the E in chase. So it was Chase ING Eternity. And I didn't recognize that. It'd been almost a month and a half since I launched the channel before someone graciously pointed that out to me. And so I did what any normal person would do when they found that they made a mistake on the internet. I panicked. As soon as I heard that, my brain just went into overdrive, man. It told me, it's like, oh shoot, how long has that been up there? How many people have just looked and passed right by this channel because they think this guy can't spell for beans? Oh, what are they thinking about me? This is awful. They're gonna think I'm an idiot. I feel like an idiot. I need to solve this problem right now. And I can laugh about it afterwards because I was able to reframe that and get a new perspective on it. But there was time when I just looked at that mistake and I just felt like a complete idiot, if I'm honest. So I want to turn a question back around to you. How do you respond when you make mistakes? Are you able to laugh it off like I'm able to do now? Do you minimize it? Maybe you don't even want to recognize that you made a mistake. I've done that before too. You see, I think a lot of how we respond to our mistakes is wrapped up in our identity, what we think about ourselves. And as soon as I started thinking about identity, I thought of a story in the Old Testament. You can read about it in Exodus. Goodness, I can't. I looked it up and read it earlier this week, but I'll put the scripture in the description if you want to know it. But this is when Moses is out in the wilderness. He killed a man in Egypt, so he's living out in the boonies tending sheep, which was about as agreeable a job as cleaning sewers with a brush. It was just not a fun job to be doing. And God comes and He calls Moses through a burning bush, and He says, "Hey, I want you to go represent me to Pharaoh, and I need you to get my people out of Egypt. They're slaves and they're living hard lives, and I want you to help me do it." So after some back and forth, Moses agrees with some caveats. And the last thing that Moses says is, whoa, wait, time out. Who do I tell them who sent me? Who's coming for them? Who am I representing here? And God responds with something that seems really strange. He says, "I am who I am." And don't worry, it didn't make a lot of sense to me either when I read that. There's actually a lot packed in that phrase that you could preach an entire sermon, a whole group of sermons, just on that phrase alone. But I'm not here to preach to you, am I? I'm just here to talk with you guys. But one way this spoke to me is God is self-identifying who he is, that he is effectively himself. In fact, self-identification is really powerful. And it's something unique that only humans can do. It's just one more beautiful way that God made us in his image. And we can sum up our identity, how we talk about ourselves, using the phrase, I am. And these I ams can be the greatest thing in the world, or they can just destroy you. When it came to the spelling mistake that I made on the internet, as soon as that mistake happened, I felt that my identity was threatened, that I looked incompetent, I looked like an idiot. And in turn, that threatened me. So I had to make a change right away. That's what my brain was telling me at that time, before I was able to get a grip and choose a more helpful reaction. I've also seen how I am statements can work powerfully good in my life. A little bit of a backstory here. I had the chance to move into a house several years ago, and now I'm responsible for house and lawn care, including cleaning my gutters. And so I had a 2-story ladder on hand, and I cleared a Saturday in order to get up there and take care of all the leaves that had fallen in there. And it wasn't until I put the ladder up that I realized I lived in a 2.5-story tall house. And so the ladder could not reach all the way up to the gutters. And I just remember getting so frustrated when this happened. This was my one day of the week in order to do this. I mean, I was getting frustrated, I was getting annoyed, I was just wasting time, I didn't have a good solution, and things were just melting down. Until I remembered something that I learned in a book recently on strengths. It's called Strengths Finder 2.0. And one of the things this book and this test identified about me is that I have restorative strength. I'm really good at taking broken or dead things and bringing them back to life. And so I was able to catch my breath just long enough to remind myself, wait, I am a restorer. And what does a restorer do in a situation like this? Well, restorers do not get balked by problems. They get excited about problems because now they have something to solve. I am a problem solver. I can get through this. And it was amazing how quickly I was able to change how I was feeling and how I handled the situation simply by changing the phrase I am about myself. Funny ending to the story. I still couldn't solve the problem on my own. I ended up having to ask somebody for help who had a longer ladder than me. But what about you? What are some of the I am statements you say about yourself during your days and weeks? Do you even know what they are? We use them all the time, but that doesn't mean we're always aware of them. The remarkable thing that I find about the statement I am is by changing those, you can literally change your identity. By self-reflecting and then believing something new about yourself, you can completely change the way that you look at reality. And the more emotion you can put behind it, the more repetition you can put behind it, if you can attach it to an action, the more you can ingrain it in your head and begin to transform how and what you say about yourself. I do this all the time. I can't walk through a certain door in my house without reminding myself that I am hungry for heaven. I can't sit down at my computer without reminding myself I am enough. Whether I get a lot done today or not, I'm always enough because of what Christ has done for me. You know, this brings up another point or question that I did want to discuss with you, is that now that you know that you can rewrite who you are through these I am statements, who gets to decide what your I am statements are? My first thought goes to people groups, people of like-minded nature. I mean, you could talk about Republican, Democrat, pro or against a particular issue, a national group, a club group, any one of those. The problem that occurs to me when we allow ourselves to be identified by these groups, though, is they don't really know us. We just happen to be there because we think like them, and they're not going to be there as soon as we change how we think and feel about it. Maybe friends and family would be a better choice. I mean, they're there in your life because they want to be, right? And those are people that love you and know you better than any wide range of people. The problem is, I think love is blind. And sometimes we have weaknesses we don't see. Also, if we hang out with like-minded people, they're likely to have the same blind spots. So the next option on the table that I considered was, what about you? I mean, you know yourself better than anyone, right? At least I hope you do. But if this is true for me too, maybe it's true for you, is that I'm not always reliable 100% of the time. I make fallacies. I sometimes don't know why I do things, why things are the way they are. And so the final thing that I'm forced to, in order to identify who I am, is I've got to go back to the manufacturer. Think about it this way. If you lined up a group of cars, how do you know what's the difference between them? What's the difference between like a Lamborghini and a Honda Accord, or a Mustang and a Toyota Corolla, or something like that? And it comes down to the manufacturer. The manufacturer decided what that vehicle was worth, what features it had, what it was good at doing, and what value it brings to the world around it. And ultimately, that's how God thinks about you too. Because when God looked at reality, he said, this world isn't perfect unless someone like you was in it. Exactly you, with your particular temperament, with your particular background and interests and callings. It just wouldn't happen if it wasn't for you. And God, I think, has a lot to say about who we are. And so what I want to encourage you to do this week, friend, is if you could just get out your Bible, whether it's 5 minutes or 5 hours, I don't care. But when we're done here, go find something that God has to say about you. Something that you can turn into an I am statement and just paper your life with it. And I think you'll be surprised how your perspective starts to change as you start to think about differently about who you are as a person. And hey, if you have any questions or comments on it, I would love for you to leave something on this channel. Let me know how it goes or what you found out, because I'm here to be conversational. And it feels a little bit strange just talking into a camera and not hearing anyone out there say anything. So that would be a blessing for me too, if you could help me out with that. And hey, I'm always here for you. I'll see you next time.